Hi folks, Dr. Robert Barrington here with some more nutrition advice. Now this video is going to be about artificial sweeteners. It's a video I've done before. If you've been following my nutrition channel, you'll know that I'm not a big fan of artificial sweeteners. But I wanted to make this video specific to the types, a particular type of drink, and that is the type of drink that in England we call cordial. Some people may call it orange squash. It's really a fruit concentrate or some kind of concentrate that is diluted with water to be able to produce a drink. And the reason that I've made this video, or the reason I'm making this video and that I wanted to make this video, is because one of these fruit cordials that I quite often drink has now had artificial sweeteners added to it. Now I've made a video and I've stated before that I'm suspicious of why these artificial sweeteners are added to drinks that are already sweetened with sugar. I can understand why the manufacturers have a requirement to put artificial sweeteners in certain drinks, those diet drinks or drinks that don't contain sugar. The artificial sweeteners serve a purpose. They're providing a sweetness to the consumer so that the drink becomes palatable. However, what's happened increasingly, I think, over the last 10 years, maybe a little bit longer, is that these artificial sweeteners have been added to drinks that already have sugar as a sweetener. These artificial sweeteners can vary between the products. One of the perhaps most well-known is aspartame. There's others such as sucralose, sulfame K, sorbitol. These artificial sweeteners are used sometimes in combination, and I'm very suspicious of why they are added to, in addition to sugar, because sugar is obviously very sweet, and that if the sugar is already present, adding the sweetener as well seems a little bit of overkill. I have a number of theories about this. One may be that they're trying to reduce some of the sugar content of the drink because of, for example, the inclusion of the sugar tax. And other, theory that maybe people are becoming so used to this sweet taste that they expect things to become sweeter and sweeter. But the point is that those people that are, concerned about their health and concerned about the health impacts of a lot of these sweeteners are finding it increasingly difficult, like myself, to find products that don't have these artificial sweeteners in them. Now, I'm not really a person that tries to sell products or tries to advertise products on this video channel. That's not my purpose, and I'm also not somebody who tends to try and run down products. I try not to mention anything brand wise unless it's absolutely necessary to the video, but I am going to mention one product today, which is the product that I consumed, and it's the product that I will no longer be drinking, and that is Ribena. I've drunk Ribena since I was a child. It's something that I've grown up with, and I wasn't a big consumer of Ribena, and generally, I used to have it around my training. I used to use it to sweeten my training drink. And in that situation, the sugars are not really that detrimental because obviously you're using those sugars as a source of energy when you're training. And I've drunk Ribena for a long time, and I had some Ribena in the cupboard the other day, and I took a drink of it, and instantly I could tell that it had artificial sweeteners in it. I could tell because I could taste the chemical taste that you get from these type of sweeteners. And I have to say, I was very disappointed because I used to think that Ribena was a reasonably good product. It does have some antioxidant potential in there, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be a source of sugar, but it was something that hadn't been messed about with too much. Adding artificial sweetness to Ribena, I think, is a big mistake. I have noticed on the internet, if you search for this, there are many people discussing this, saying that they will no longer drink Ribena, and I will certainly add my name to that list. I won't be consuming Ribena. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Ribena already had a product that was low in sugar and had artificial sweeteners in it, and what they've done now is they've added artificial sweeteners to the normal Ribena that contains more sugar. This is, from my perspective, disappointing, but it reflects what a lot of the other manufacturers are doing. It's very, very difficult to go into the supermarket and find any of this cordial that doesn't have artificial sweeteners in. In my opinion, adding artificial sweeteners to these drinks is very detrimental to their taste. I can taste it straight away. It's a very chemical kind of taste. It's not pleasant, and it's not something that I would want to drink, even if there were no health effects associated with these sweeteners. And I can assure you that there is a lot of evidence that these sweeteners do have detrimental effects. Many people will tell you that they are safe. I would disagree with that. At the very least, they upset your. They have the potential to upset your insulin resistance, your insulin levels, and create insulin resistance. They also have been shown to act in a very similar way to sugar, in such a way that they can actually encourage you to consume more of the product. Sweet tasting foods are, one of the types of foods that humans are very attracted to, and this is another of my theories as to why these are put in more and more products, is because they do make the products very sweet, and that encourages people to consume more of them. And obviously at the end of the day, the companies that manufacture these drinks are trying to sell as many of them to us as possible, and therefore that could be one of the reasons they do this. Personally, I think there will be a period we'll go through where most of these drinks contain artificial sweeteners, and then through as these cycles always go around, there'll be a big marketing campaign to say, hey, look, we don't have artificial sweeteners in our drinks anymore. But at the time, at the moment, I'm just making this video to say you really should be checking the labels on these drinks if you drink them, and not just these drinks, but even foods and other products as well. These sweeteners are being added everywhere. They're in many different types of products. Nearly all drinks of various kinds contain sweeteners, artificial sweeteners. And they're being added to many products as well, like yogurts. Anything that has a sweet taste or requires a sweet taste is having these artificial sweeteners added to them. And they do have detrimental effects on your health. This has been evidenced. They certainly don't have any beneficial effects on your health, and I certainly don't think they have any beneficial effects on the taste of the product. But certainly, I might be in the exception here, because I don't really have a sweet tooth anyway. But I don't really consume a lot of sugar, and therefore I'm not used to the sweet taste. So when I do taste these sweeteners, they do appear to be overly sweet to me. Those people that consume more sugar may actually find them more palatable. But I just wanted to point out to people that these sweeteners are being added to drinks that also contain sugar, and this is why I always encourage you to be your own nutritionist and to look at the labels on the products that you are consuming. So Ribena, for me, it's a drink I grew up with. I drank it all the way through my childhood. I've now realised that it contains artificial sweeteners, and therefore I will not be consuming any more of that. I have looked around. There are other quite well-known brands of cordial. There is a lime cordial. I won't advertise, but there is a lime cordial that doesn't contain artificial sweeteners, and there are others that you can search around for, and I would recommend that you do that. If you are into your, if you are worried about your health, concerned about your health, you want to maintain your mental health, you want to maintain your insulin sensitivity, you want to maintain your normal body weight, and you want your diet to be something that is healthy and balanced, I would suggest that you read the labels on these products and make sure that you hunt around and you hit these companies that decide to put these artificial sweeteners in their drinks where they don't like it, which is in their wallets. Spend your money on drinks that don't have artificial sweeteners in them. And there is a caveat here as well. I'm not a big fan of sugary drinks and consuming lots and lots of fizzy pop, but the odd glass of cordial, if it's if it's not too frequent, is not going to cause too much difficulty. And drinking it around training, or when you've done some gardening to restore your energy levels, to restore your hydration levels, is possibly going to be beneficial anyway. So these drinks are not, I wouldn't say that they're things that you should drink lots of, but certainly I don't think they have too much of a detrimental effect until you start chemically altering them with these artificial sweeteners, which appear to be really now worryingly in our food chain. It's very difficult to actually find foods that don't contain many of these sweeteners. So as always, be your own nutritionist. Be very careful. Don't trust any of these companies. They will sneakily put things into drinks and take things out without telling you. Always read the label, be suspicious, and always try and find the best product you can, and search around, and try and avoid those products that where they want to go down this route of supplying us and poisoning us with these artificial sweeteners. The same can be said for whey protein. Whey protein is another thing that contains far too many flavorings, far too many sweeteners. I always try and get a neutral whey protein when I use whey protein that doesn't contain anything but whey protein. But you go and try and you buy a commercial whey protein, and nearly every single whey protein is absolutely loaded with sweeteners. And I would say the detrimental effect of those sweeteners in that whey protein will outweigh any of the benefits that you get from consuming whey protein. So this is where I stand on this issue. If I see artificial sweeteners in the ingredient list, I just put that product in the bin. Metaphorically, it's not something that I would go anywhere near. The short-term effects of these artificial sweeteners have been evidenced to cause detrimental disruption to our metabolism, but it's the long-term effects that are more worrying, and those long-term effects are apparent in animals. Certainly aspartame has been shown to cause cancer in animals, but it's very difficult to prove that in humans because of how long we live and how long a study would have to take, and the fact that there are so many other variables in our diet. It would be very difficult to ever put the blame on these artificial sweeteners. But certainly the evidence I've seen from animal studies and from other studies indicates they could actually have quite detrimental long-term effects, and certainly I know many people react to them very badly. They certainly have very short-term, they cause very short-term mental changes in some people, and they can induce things like anxiety and even depression in some individuals. So they are worth avoiding, and particularly if you're sensitive to them. So take-home message: always read the label and never trust these companies, because they will try and stuff as many chemicals into these products as they can if they can get away with it. So the trick is, don't let them get away with it. I hope that was interesting. As always, eat well, stay healthy, and protect yourself, and I will see you soon for another video. Take care.